Hey, what's up, my preps? It's Hakim, your Survive University Dean, back with one of my crazy conspiracy theories that doesn't lack backing by facts. And so, again, I like to call these things conspiracy theories, but really, if you really dig into them, it kind of makes sense. And so that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about another conspiracy theory of mine where I just find it really strange as a PSYOP guy and watching all of the different patterns that are happening. And I have asked the question to you. Do you find it weird that 2 years ago in Florida, there was a release of, when it was all said and done, about 20 million mosquitoes by a company called Oxitec? So 20 million mosquitoes was released by this company. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to somehow lessen the cases of the Zika virus and dengue by allowing these mosquitoes that were genetically modified to mate and then kind of make the mosquito population sterile, so it would lower all of the mosquitoes there. So then you fast forward 2 years to this June of 2023, and now you have random cases of malaria that aren't travel based, meaning that people travel out of the country and then they come back. There are several hundred of those cases that happen every year. Somebody travels to a tropical place or a place where they get malaria and then they come back to the United States and then they form those issues. But these cases of malaria have been specifically linked to Florida, meaning that they are coming out of Florida. It's happening in Florida. The mosquitoes that are there are giving these people malaria. And I find that really spooky, and I find that really interesting that 2 years ago this thing happened. And the Florida residents, as well as other people, were really concerned that messing with nature and genetically modifying nature was going to have a negative impact, and that we weren't really sure how it was going to play out, and that it wasn't a great idea. And the last time we messed with nature, we had this virus come out that created this pandemic. So us fooling around with things that we don't understand and don't understand the long-term repercussions and how it's going to play out, and then just putting it out there and seeing what's going to happen is always not been the greatest idea. But we still do it, and we still have these effects. Now, to be very clear, no one has specifically linked these malaria cases to these older cases or to the actual Oxitec release of the mosquitoes that they genetically engineered. Dare I say yet? I don't know. But I will tell you that it is very weird and very scary that, I don't know what the odds are that we release 20 million genetically modified mosquitoes and, to specifically help avoid or create a situation where these viruses are not springing up in Florida. And then in that same place, we have a virus that hasn't sprung up in Florida or anywhere in the United States for 20 years. The last time we had a confirmed case of malaria that actually happened in the United States by a mosquito, the CDC says that was 20 years ago, 2003, right? Now, 2023, and you're seeing this stuff pop up. And it's concerning because the cases are growing. They're not just vanishing. And so, again, a conspiracy that's backed by some fact is maybe not a conspiracy, but we don't know yet. We got to play it out and see what's going to happen. But it's still going to be scary to think about what this looks like if it continues to play out, and what it can mean for the residents of Florida and other places like Texas, which also had a case. So we have to be very careful with this. Keep your eye on it. And so again, Survive University is about all aspects of survival. This isn't just like hanging out in the woods and like burning stuff and doing stuff. Obviously, we can do that. It's not just about shooting tactics, moving, communicating. We can do that. It's also about watching the patterns that are happening in our society and seeing how those patterns might interrupt our life and make difficulty for us in our everyday lives, just like the pandemic did. Watching that and watching how it developed, if we go back to that, people were in disbelief. They weren't believing it. They weren't taking the steps to be prepared. And before you know it, now you have people fighting for toilet tissue at the supermarket because they're panicking. They don't know what to do. People have never lived without toilet tissue. But imagine what that's going to be like if we have different things happen, like currencies changing, people, water and things of that nature. And maybe we can't go outside because of mosquitoes. I mean, there's all different types of things that can happen that can disrupt our everyday lives, and this might be one of them. So hopefully it is not. I pray that it is not, because it's going to be very scary to not be able to go outside. Because if you ever take note, like mosquitoes, they are everywhere and they get into everywhere, and it's very hard to even know sometimes, especially the little tiny ones, that they're even in your house, or that they're even on you until you're bitten, and then all of a sudden you have that. Now they say you should wear DEET or something like that, but we know that those chemicals, wearing them consistently for a long period of time on your body, is not good neither. So then another answer would be, okay, well, wear long sleeve shirts and long sleeve pants. But if you're in a very hot climate, you know that that's not always a great option, because now you have overheating and dehydration and things of that nature. So the real hope here is that we don't have to deal with that, and that this is just some sort of fluke situation, and that we are going to be able to move past that. But I will say this: if you want to be prepared for something like this, the answer is not going to be using DEET or any of these things. You need to start learning how to create your own bug repellents that are from natural ingredients, using things like citronella, using things like lavender, geranium, all these different things, and some sort of base oil. And there's several mixes that you can find online, pennyroyal, that allows you to kind of like keep mosquitoes off of you and other bugs as well. And so I would say start stocking up on some of those things and make sure that you can make those. Because remember, when we had the issue with hand sanitizer with the pandemic, all of a sudden you found yourself not having alcohol at the grocery stores, not having peroxide, any of the things that were meant for cleaning, they just vanished off the shelf because people waited too long, or they were all going in there getting it. And for those who waited too long, they didn't have those things. Even like Absolute vodka or 100% alcohol, that was flying off the shelf because people were using that and aloe to make hand sanitizer. So when these things pop off and all of the regular stuff goes off the shelf, then you have to be able to do it. So if I'm going to recommend anything in this video, it is to make sure that you get some of those natural remedies, or those natural essential oils and base oils, to start creating your own stuff, so that if something like this does happen, you are prepared and you are ready. So that's all I have for today, my friends. So just keep an eye on this, keep tracking this, and see what's going on with these mosquitoes, because mosquitoes are everywhere and they could be a lot of harm. So again, one of my conspiracy theories that's backed by some form of fact. And so maybe it's not a conspiracy theory, but we'll have to wait and see. Until next time, my friends, I'm Hakim, your Survive University Dean. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button below, because I'm going to be releasing all types of videos to let you know what's coming down the pipeline as I see these patterns unfolding in our everyday news.